Hey guys, well, thank you very much for being with us today for this. Oh, how far are we in? I think fourth event in this Tezos education series with Encode Club. We're delighted to have Kitti and Dani with us once again today to talk to you about all things ecosystem and community. All the events will go up online. Well, they're all online for your consumption. There was a brilliant one from last week. I think that's already on the YouTube. Let's see if it is. There we go, which I'm going to paste here for you to get a kind of technical overview of Tezos everything in between. Vanessa's going to post some links for us to Discord about the program in general. This program is a tripartite program. It starts with this education. We then move into hackathon before finishing with an accelerator. So lots of opportunities to get involved. And someone saying they don't have cam on the Mac Mini. So you have an extra camera like me. I'm a big Mac Mini fan, but I also have an extra camera just in case. All right, so guys, thank you very much. And without further delay, Kitti and Dani, over to you. Looking forward to another fantastic talk.
So what you need to know is that there is not a single entity that owns, manages, or controls Tezos. So we don't have a CEO. We don't have a company that owns everything. There is no one who is in control. And we had 8 upgrades that prove the resilience of the vision that has been laid out in 2014, and that allows the sustainability and steady growth of the protocol. This is the beauty of Tezos. The future lies in the hands of its global community, which is potentially you guys here in this call also. There is a saying that a blockchain is only as strong as the people are in its community. So here is a little bit of a disclaimer for this presentation. We are going to share you tons of lists and links. So we're gonna share the presentation itself in the end, just so you can find the links. And we surely leave out important projects, not because we don't like them, but because it's a very decentralized ecosystem, and there is no one who holds all the things in one hand. So there is no entity who we can turn to who has all the information about everything. And there are so many projects that are popping up like every week that it's nearly impossible to stay on top of it. So if you know of a cool project or a cool community that we don't mention, drop the link in the chat, please, because it's equally important. We just might not know about it. So here is the latest landscape that was created by a community member, which shows like all the diversity of the things on Tezos. Obviously, we have exchanges where you can buy Tezos. There are wallets where you can store your Tezos. There are tons of Dapps and tools, and the latest and quickest growing is the NFT and gaming section. So I'm pretty sure that even though this visualization is like 1 week old, there must be a lot of things that happened since then. So you are always welcome to update.
Yeah, so the thing is, even as like we are a company who work with the Tezos ecosystem very closely, there are so many things on this chart that we have never even heard of. So it is a very fast growing and very decentralized ecosystem with a lot of fascinating things happening.
Few facts and figures. I start this video because it's a really nice data visualization from a team who actually just started, I think in February. They are doing data visualizations on the blockchains. These are the active wallets by day that you can see on this chart. So as of today, the circulating supply of tokens is above 800 million. I checked it in the morning, so it might be higher by now, because there are Tez produced every half an hour, right? And burned also. So this is a number that's constantly changing, but we have we have an estimation for today. It's gonna be different tomorrow. We have daily 10 to 15,000 unit wallet interactions, which doesn't mean that they are individual people, because one person can hold several wallets.
But it's still a good indicator of the activity on the network.
Yes. We have 415 active bakers, out of which 243 is public.
So yeah, about bakers, if those who have been to the previous presentations should know that bakers are what we call block producers or validators in Tezos. And the difference between public and non-public bakers is that public bakers accept delegations from ecosystem members. And if you delegate this to them for baking, then you get paid a certain income from the baker, to which is kind of like putting your money in a money market fund in the bank and getting a certain income from that. So
there are over 1,000 people in the biggest baking community on Telegram. We have over 1,600 people in the developer Slack, and the most popular platform on Tezos had 24,000 users this past month. So you can see that the community is really active and it's only growing. So you can see how the activity constantly grows. This is a chart that shows the total number of contract calls and also the growing number of contract calls. Like you see the drop in February, but the explanation of that drop is that we are only in the middle of February. So this is likely going to be higher than January was. Bakers. You want to talk a little more about bakers?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, bakers are what we call block producers. So Tezos is a proof of stake blockchain, which means that producing blocks is linked to putting out Tez, that is cryptocurrency, as a collateral to ensure honest behavior on behalf of the nodes who do the baking. And since it is Tezos' own like brand of proof of stake is called liquid proof of stake, which means it's permissionless, so anyone can bake as long as they hold more than 8,000 Tez. And those who hold more than 8,000 Tez and decide to open open themselves up for like delegations can get like Tez delegated, as I mentioned, from people. So if you do not hold more than 8,000 Tez, but you would still like to keep up this with the inflation in Tezos, then you can delegate your Tez to a baker. This is a risk-free decision, so it's not like you can lose your Tez. You can still spend it. It's not really like giving it away. You're just sort of giving your vote to a certain person who you either trust or feel like they are giving you the best return on your money. And then this is an on-chain operation that you can do, that you delegate, and that got delegated to them can be used by them for voting.
Can you talk about a little bit on like how hard is building a baking facility? There are a lot of questions. What does it take to become a baker?
Generally, it requires a relatively low-powered computer. So I'm not sure if baking on a Raspberry Pi is like just a dream or something that's actually possible right now, but a very low-cost virtual machine or just a small computer and like a notebook in the corner would be enough to bake. So there's no real extreme hardware requirement. You do need a stable internet connection because, of course, you need to be able to stay connected to the network 24/7. But apart from that, it's a very like low requirement thing.
What's with the bandwidth and uptime?
I'm not entirely sure about the exact numbers on that, but generally, if you have a high, like top tier residential connection, that should be good enough.
Thank you. And so the core of the community, besides the bakers, is the governance, which is led by Tezos Agora. You talked last time about the amendment process a lot, so I'm not going to get into it right now. What I find interesting is that the current period is called cool down, which is because the previous proposal got rejected. So now everybody have to cool down a little bit until the next proposal goes live, and then they can vote about it.
And yeah, so if anyone's interested in Tezos governance, then the tezosagora.org is the forum where proposals are discussed. So this is an interesting resource to keep an eye on.
And who are the ones who are doing these improvements? So it's also, as you can see, it's fairly distributed around the world. So there is an organization in the States and in Japan, in France and Switzerland, and then more France. So maybe France is a little overweight here, but these are all bodies that are developers and coders who are working on improving the protocol. We had the light off again. Yeah, do you have anything else to?
No.
Okay. Okay, here are some statistics, just so you see the activity rate. So this one is a screenshot from Dapps Radar, where you can see this is a 30 days chart that we see him. So currently, the main Tezos-based marketplaces are leading in activity, but also Tez Domains is quite active, and there are some collectibles in here. And on the other side, this is a beautiful visualization by a super cool project called the Stack Report, and they just started now, but they are doing really nice data visualizations on contract calls and other stories that you can figure out from the data that you find on the blockchain. So you can see how he got dropped for a while, but now it's going up again. And yeah, FX hash is a little more up and down, up and down. Yeah, object.com, it shows a steady growth. So they are the flag holders in the ecosystem, I would say. And another like super important part of the community is the foundation, because the foundation focuses on empowering the Tezos community, and they are allocating resources and all sorts of support for all those who are ensuring the long-term success of Tezos. So the foundation is focused on giving out grants in three grant categories. The first one is research, education, and core development. So they are aiming to foster innovation, development, and education about Tezos. There is a wide range of projects, from online trainings, like what we do now, to core protocol development. There are ecosystem tools and application grants. They are lower barrier to entry, and they are aiming to help to make Tezos as accessible as possible for developers and end users also. So if you are thinking of building a tool or an application on Tezos, then you might be able to apply for a grant. And there are also community grants. So this is support for organizations that strengthen and grow the Tezos community, to which the Tezos Foundation belongs. So
yeah, so it's important to talk a little about like where the foundation comes from and what it really does. So the foundation does not control Tezos, and it did not create Tezos. So when Tezos was launched, there was a fundraising event where the goal was to raise funds for the future development of Tezos itself, the protocol and the ecosystem. And the income from this fundraiser was used to found the Tezos Foundation. So essentially, the role of the Tezos Foundation is to safeguard and utilize the monies raised in that fundraiser. And they are spending money on protocol development itself, so funding the entities that, for example, build the Tezos node and work on protocol improvements. And they also have this grants program and multiple daughter entities, including us, DZ Connect in Berlin, which are all focused on helping the community develop and to push it forward.
And just so you have an idea of the volume of these grants, this is a chart from the 2021 September biannual report. That's the latest one. So the next one is coming out in March. And this is the March to September period last year, 2021. So the foundation really enabled a diverse group of organizations and individuals to develop high quality and open source applications. Most of the money goes into tools and applications. And then the community grants are also really big, and the education is the smallest piece of the pie. So how can you get involved into this community? The easiest and the lowest barrier for sure is hackathons and educational programs. We have a Discord that is dedicated for hackathons. Right now it's silent because we don't have an ongoing hackathon. But you are welcome to join, because this is where we are going to announce the upcoming ones. So if you are in that Discord, then you'll be surely notified when something is coming up. We are going to do one together with Encode, which is coming in March, and that's going to be followed by an incubation period also. So this is going to be a great opportunity for those who want to start a project from scratch and bring it all the way to the market. TACOD is another educational body. They are doing regular courses and
they also have this self-paced course on the internet that you can join and
right. It is 420 minutes. That's what they say. But what I heard from other people is that it's about a week to really finish it. But it's a very good starting point if you want to build on Tezos. We have a partnership with Gitcoin. So keep an eye on Gitcoin. We don't have exact dates yet, but we are planning to organize several bounties this year. So make sure you are watching Gitcoin for Tezos hackathons. And also it's worth mentioning that we at TZ Connects organize hackathons, but also Tezos India and Tezos Ukraine are very regularly organizing hackathons. So keep an eye on them as well. They both have a running one right now, but the applications are already closed. But if they are close to you geographically, then I highly recommend to follow them on all their channels, because they also have a lot of programs going. From the community grants, there are several supportive bodies in the Tezos ecosystem. And I thought, just so you don't fall asleep while we are talking to you, you could find the one that's closest to you and link it to the chat. Someone is asking how to start Tezos Nigeria community. I would say reach out to the existing African communities and ask them, because they already have best practices and they already went through a successful grant applications through the foundation. So I think they are the ones who can support the best. What's the favorite community within Tezos? I don't think we can say favorites. Yeah. No, we don't have favorites. We love everyone.
Yeah, all of the communities are important.
Yeah, and actually that's the beauty of decentralization. You know, like you cannot really highlight one, because the ecosystem can only be moved forward if we do it together, like all of us together. And for that, we need diversity in knowledge, diversity in culture, diversity in ideas. I think that's how we can grow. Non-technical, are there non-technical grants available? So the community grants and the educational grants, they are non-technical for sure. And then some of the local communities also have small grant programs. Tezos Commons, they are operating globally, and they are really in the core of the Tezos community. They are doing a lot of really cool supportive things, and they have a small grant program going. If you are in the Asia Pacific area, then TZ APEC is your closest one. Tezos India, actually, they collaborate with TZ APEC on the grants program. So whichever you find closer, like geographically or culturally, you can talk to either one of them. TZ Connect is us. We are in Berlin. Tezos Israel also has grants, and Tezos Africa also have grants. So going back to the question of Nigeria, you can also just reach out to Tezos Africa, because they might be able to direct you towards some grants. Sarah has a question. How did you get involved with Tezos personally?
Yeah, so actually Kitti got involved through me because we knew each other from the burner community.
Yeah.
And I got involved when I moved to Berlin. I was looking for a new job in blockchain, and I got somehow my CV ended up on the desk of one of the TZ Connect directors. I came in for a job interview, and it's been a lot of fun since. And then when Kitti was looking for a new job as a community manager, she also joined through me.
Yeah, I had a point in my life where I felt that the only way forward is in blockchain. So I started to look through my network who is in blockchain. And I was a community builder before. So I thought like these are skills that interchangeable. So I did a course on blockchain, actually 2 online courses on blockchain in general, non-technical ones. And then I reached out to everyone in my network, and this is how we happen to be here together. Okay. Help for developers. One thing that I want to say is that all these platforms are very, very active, and there are a lot of things going on. And I sometimes hear people that they posted somewhere, they had a question, and then they did not get an answer. So I think looking for help requires a little bit of a perseverance. And also you have to understand that because this is a flat, non-hierarchical and very decentralized organization, all these forums are run by the community. So it's not that there is someone who has the responsibility to answer questions. It's just a lot of people who are very enthusiastic about Tezos and supporting each other. But it's not necessarily easy to get involved. For some people, it really is. We had like past hackathon winners who I like keep seeing them popping up in. I'm usually in the Discord, and they are like super involved. They did their first project on Tezos through the hackathon, and now like they are in the core of the community and they are getting all the support. So it's a really nice community, but it could be that you get a little bit lost at first. So if that happens, just hold on, keep on going. There will be someone who helps you out. And I also think it's a little bit of a matter of personal taste. Like some people freak out of Discord and prefer Telegram. Some people enjoys more like the GitLab kind of like more structured way of finding information. So I really recommend to find the one that is closest to your personal motivations or your personal taste and try getting involved there. Is there any Tezos Americas? So as far as I know, it's Bitches who is in the Americas. It's written bit.she's. And they are an organization that are about inclusivity. So they support women and non-binary people, but I think as it's inclusive, if you are a man, probably you can still reach out to them. And one thing that I find super fun from the community perspective is that Tezos Commons is doing monthly rewards. So if you are an active member of the community, then you can get rewards in the form of some Tez. It's not public how much Tez they allocate, so that we don't know, but there are a lot of fun categories. So there is always the indie dev of the month. So if you are a developer who is independent, then this is for you. There is also a meme category. So if you like to create memes, that's another way to get involved. You can be a troll hunter. So if you are looking at Twitter and you find people who are spreading fear and unrest, then you can stop them and get rewards for that. You can be a good Samaritan, where they are community members who are helping the noobs in the ecosystem. Also, if you are a noob, then look at the medium of Tezos Commons, because there you will find who can you reach out to, because there are some good Samaritarians in this community. The OG award that goes for the long-time community members, but that's also a good resource to look at, because if you want someone really experienced, then probably they have been named in the OG award once. Taco award goes for those who are creating educational materials. Helpers and Sherpas are people who are freely helping others with tech support. Dani is one of them. She helps a lot. Yeah, and there are all sorts of other categories. Testifier is for those who are creating or attending public events, and they engage with potential newcomers in the ecosystem. Also, those who are maintaining the Tezos Wiki are rewarded, and content creators in general. So if you make creative content like music or art or graphics, the Content Creator Award can be yours. You can go on Tezos Commons and see how the nomination process works. It's okay to self-nominate, but you only can nominate for things that you done in the past months. So if you did something in December, then you are not eligible for the February rewards. But if you do something in February, you have 2 more weeks, then you might get a reward. This is a really low barrier to get some support from the Tezos ecosystem. And just so you have an idea what sort of memes there are, this is one of our favorites. There is no fork. Do we remember why this is relevant for Tezos? Because on Tezos there is no fork.
Yeah, the governance.
Yeah, the self-upgrading protocol enables us to progress, right? Tezos can be updated. It's self-upgrading through the governance system. Exactly. I think this is a really nice one. A few of the most important market spaces.
So yeah, as you can see, NFT has blown up quite a bit in Tezos. Well, in the whole blockchain space, to be honest, but what I have seen is that there is a lot of focus in Tezos land on art and NFTs. And so there are multiple relatively successful NFT marketplaces. Hikatnunk and Object are probably the most well-known, but there's also Calamint and Rarible. Hikatnunk was quite revolutionary, and it helped kickstart a really lively art community on Tezos, because it was very artist oriented and permissionless. And so without gatekeeping and relatively low fees, a lot of artists got their first experiments and experiences with NFTs on Tezos and through Hikatnunk.
And what's also important about Hikatnunk is that they are all artists who are environmentally conscious. So for
Hackathon is back, by the way. So it used to be so it got the original website got shut down over an internal conflict within the community a few months back. Then some people forked the front end because, of course, the back end was still there. It's a blockchain system, and now it's back. So hackathon.xyz is now operating again.
And it's still clean NFT. So if you look at Twitter and search for the hashtag clean NFT, you will find a lot of artists who are all selling on Hackathon. Because for many people in the art world, the environmental impact was a huge problem with the Ethereum NFT project. And I really like that. Dark again. I really like that that artists at Hackathon are conscious about the environment and conscious about the CO2 emissions. And I really, really hope that the future is like that, because I think art should support.
Yeah, so there was a question, how can one get support to build applications on the Tezos blockchain? And what is the maximum grant amount in USD value? So the way you can get support is first, try to get community support. And there's you go to the Tezos Foundation page, there's a grants page there that explains the process. You can either go for a small grant through one of the small grants programs in the ecosystem, so through Tezos Commons or even through TZ Connect, or you can go through the Tezos Foundation for a proper grant. There is no maximum cap on the USD value. There are I have seen some really, really big projects, so multi-year, multi-million-dollar projects, but of course those require appropriate levels of credibility. So there are some serious management and finance experts who are going to review these grant applications, these business plans and concepts, and decide what to grant and what to decline. Generally, up to about 50,000 US dollars, it's easier to get accepted. And if you're not planning on starting a company or something like that, but just you need a $1,000 or maybe $1,000 for reimbursing expenses for something that's useful for Tezos, then you can look at one of the small grants programs instead. So DeFi is not a huge focus on Tezos. It does exist. There are some interesting DeFi applications. There are some stable coins on Tezos. The most popular decentralized exchange on Tezos is called Kitti. There used to be another called Dexter, but it got shut down because of a security vulnerability that got found out. Thankfully, no money got stolen, but they had to shut the exchange down and refund everyone. So now if you want to do on-chain swapping between tokens, then Kitti is the one where you would go and do it.
What is DeFi?
DeFi is decentralized finance. So it encompasses all the various financial products and services that can be accessed on a blockchain in a decentralized manner. This, of course, means very often that there is no financial service provider, no company behind it that is responsible for your money. So when you are interacting in decentralized finance, it's important to always look at it as a risky decision where you are the one who bears the responsibility for what you're doing, because it's just automated programs doing everything. Can you use Rust or WebAssembly to program Tezos? Well, if we're talking about smart contracts, not at the moment. So currently, the Tezos smart contracts run in a virtual machine called the Michelson virtual machine. There are some specialized high-level programming languages that you can use to compile to Michelson. Rust can be used and is used to write like off-chain applications close to Tezos. It's really good for that. Like we at TZ Connect use Rust quite a bit. Our indexer was written in Rust. It's called Capasa. But yeah, so if you want to write a smart contract on Tezos, you cannot use these generic tools for that right now. Yeah, these are block explorers. If you come from Ethereum or like blockchains in general, then these should be familiar to you. These are tools that let you look into the blockchain and do some searches, queries on it, look at the state of addresses or smart contracts. TZ-Stats is a general purpose block explorer, and while BCD and TZ-KT are specifically created to introspect smart contracts. So if you want to look at like money transfers or baking, then TZ-Stats is the place to go. If you want to look at a smart contract, then BCD or TZ-KT is the better solution.
And what are public nodes?
Well, public nodes are nodes that you can use to access the blockchain without running your own blockchain node. This website you can see here, this is the site of Taquito, which is the JavaScript toolkit for connecting to Tezos. You're going to use it if you are building a distributed application. And so these nodes are community maintained. Currently, there is no for-profit infrastructure on Tezos similar to like Infura, which means that if you need like a quality of service agreement or you need a node that you can really rely on, then you should run your own node. If you just want to use something casually to test things out, then these are good enough.
Well, when do you need to run your own node?
Well, I would say that if you expect to make money with a distributed application, you should run your own node. Yeah, these are the main wallets we have. Temple is similar to MetaMask. It is a browser extension. It supports hardware wallets. I think it only supports Ledger now, but yeah, you can use your Ledger with it. It is very comfortable to use. So honestly, if you want to use a hardware wallet, I think Temple is like the best choice. Kukai fills a specific niche. It is a wallet that you can use a social media logon to create. It is not custodial, so the key itself is generated on your computer. It is not super secure, not as secure as a hardware wallet, but like secure enough for smaller amounts of money. It's very good for onboarding new people. So if you're offering an application or building like Tezos integration with something that's like not specifically blockchain adjacent, then Kukai is really good for onboarding new people. Then there's Umami, which was built mainly to offer a very wide range of functionalities and make it easy to do some advanced operations on Tezos. Are there likely some frameworks or SDKs available for blockchain developers with little or no experience to use in building applications? Well, so, I mean, everyone who starts building on Tezos once started out with little or no experience. And the only way of getting that experience is by getting into the thick of things. I would say that Taquito is the one that you should primarily look at. It is the JavaScript framework and SDK. It's written in TypeScript. You can use it as a native TypeScript library or as JavaScript. And It is the most mature SDK on Tezos or in Tezos land currently. Yeah, mobile apps. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Tezos mobile wallet situation looks like at the moment.
Kukai doesn't have that, I'm
Yeah.
sure about. Okay, and I think it's important that when we think about adaptation is that there are a lot of big brands who are already building on Tezos. So the Manchester United was just announced last week, but Red Bull and Ubisoft and also Gap is building on Tezos. Art Basel Miami minted their NFTs on Tezos, and also the Hackathon community is a very, very strong foundation of those who are building on Tezos. So this is just a little bit of a name dropping, just so you feel that it's cool. So now the question goes back to you guys. What is your impression of the community? How will you get involved?
I'm a junior developer and I'm not really sure where to begin or like how to get involved. What would you recommend as like a starting off initial step?
Well, I would say join the Discord.
Check. Done that.
That's always a good idea. And then probably join a hackathon.
Okay, so the one that's coming up next week or in a couple weeks I don't even know how to begin with the hackathon. I've never joined one of those. So like very, very introductory step.
Yeah, so what sort of applications do you develop generally?
Web apps.
Yeah, so then you already have like a working knowledge for web app development. I think that's really good for starting out with Dapps. You should look at the Taquito documentation.
Okay.
And learn that. Maybe going through the Taco materials is a good idea too. The Tezos Commons website has some really good link collections. So just trying to get a feel for what's out there and learning Taquito and maybe Lego if you're interested in smart contracts. And then just join a hackathon. The way a hackathon looks generally is there are like tracks which give you like ideas on what to build. And then you have a certain period of time, like a few days or a few weeks to build it. And if it's like good enough, then you can win a pretty hefty prize. So it's like both a motivation, it's kind of like a limited time, so it's easier to get something done and delivered. So I think that might be like the best thing to do.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this presentation.
Also, the Taco course, it gives you some tests in the end. It's not public in the beginning, but if you work through it, in the end, there's going to be a surprise.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for this presentation. It's eye-opening and quite enlightening. My concern really has to do with the community because I happen to be a blockchain community advocate in my country, Nigeria. And I think I've been following up on the Tezos activity via Encode. So I'm interested, but we have a community of developers. That was why I asked what are the available tools for those who are not really too experienced, because blockchain knowledge is relatively new to some of us in this part of Africa. So, and we need all the support. We need all the resources. I mean, resources to learn so that we can really advance and in terms of grant to help whatever project you want to build on to make it happen. You see, because I'm in a hub presently where we have developers who come do one or two activities, and everybody is gravitating towards blockchain, moving from Web 2 to Web 3 in terms of decentralization and also DeFi. a decentralized financial system where it's not being regulated by a central system. So people want to build project. People want to be on a particular blockchain network. So I am of the opinion that um, if it's possible, we access these links, because I notice that the links are much, so that we can check them after this presentation, and the other resource materials or other direction that we can be directed to, so that we can start off in a solid foundation in terms of building our projects on Tezos. Thank you.
Tezosafrica.com. I think that's a good starting point. Also, if you search on Telegram, you find Tezos Africa English and Tezos Africa French channels. So you can join either one of them. And then there are people who are in Africa and they are already involved in the ecosystem. So probably they are a good starting point to find your ways.
Yes, and since they already have connections to the Tezos Foundation and probably know people at the foundation already, if you want to put in a grant, they can probably help you on how to format it, what to have in your grant proposal, so that it goes through the foundation in the quickest way possible.
Yeah, this is a lot of new information and you're still wrapping your head around it. So to be entirely honest, for me, doing this presentation was also a big rabbit hole, because the ecosystem is so big and there are so many things going on that I spent like an infinite amount of times of like finding this project and then diving into their Discord and then finding their Telegram and following their Twitter. Like it's really, really big and very happening. So
thank you very much. That's what I wish to say, because somehow I attend all the courses, and I wish to say, as a community, welcome that kind of gathering. It makes us a little bit on the way of building something different than the ordinary. I hope so. Thank you very much. Just I wish to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, so yeah, thanks for putting these videos together. They've been really helpful for me. So I've been seeing a lot of big name advertising on Tezos. I'm curious, is this mostly to just build the community or try to pump the price of the token?
So the Tezos Foundation, and yeah, so the Tezos Foundation is not specifically involved with the price of the token. That's like up to the market, really. What the Tezos Foundation's goal is to make it easier to build on Tezos and to entice people to start using this blockchain, because it's a good platform and we would like to see it flourish. So these big name corporate advertisements and events that happen, the NFT drops and marketplaces, they are primarily because they primarily happen because these companies were looking for a blockchain to do their projects, and Tezos just seemed like a good place to do it overall. So yeah, it's not like we are trying to like pump Tezos or anything.
Yeah, I could definitely tell, jumping in the community, seeing a lot of helpful resources, a lot of different ways to engage. So there's a little joke about the token price pump, but definitely like seeing all the advertisements with soccer clubs and F1 teams. So yeah, thanks for doing these videos. Real excited to get started in this ecosystem.
And I also think that any brand that wants to be cool nowadays have to be environmentally conscious. So I think like one big pro with Tezos is the low gas fees, but the other one is the low carbon impact. We have a question on gas fees on Tezos.
It is not free, so but still a lot lower, a lot cheaper than on some other big name blockchains. Currently, you can mint an NFT for a few tens of cents. So it's or deploy a new smart contract for something like €1.
All right. So I think our time is up. I've seen a lot of questions whether Vanessa is going to share the links. Yes, I made sure that the links are in the presentation and the presentation will be shared. But also, if you miss anything that you heard and you want to find a link for it, you can just find either one of us on Discord. Probably I'm more responsive because I am the community person and Dani has to code sometimes, but I'm only for the community. So if you find me on Discord, you can always DM me. I won't report you for spam, I promise. And you can ask all your questions and I can direct you to the right resources.
Well, thank you guys for such a great session today. We're looking forward to the next 4 events in the series. And next week we have smart contract development for Dapps on Tezos. So that one's going to be kind of technical and very exciting, I guess, for aspiring devs here in the community. You guys mentioned the hack. It's upcoming. Probably starting in March, you're going to be updated with all the announcements. They're going to be shared on Twitter, on our Discord website, and Tezos will also share them on their social channels. So there's no way you're going to miss it. There's most likely going to be challenges for developers of various skill levels. We usually do like an easy, medium, and hard challenge. So if you're a beginner developer, don't be scared. There's going to be something for you as well in that hack. So we're looking forward to seeing all your submissions there. But yeah, I'm going to drop the link for the next event in the series in chat so you can sign up and make sure you don't miss it. And see you next Thursday. The video and article with all the links and all the slides and everything we just mentioned will be up tomorrow. So don't worry, guys. And if you still can find something, find us on Discord and we'll help you out. So see you next week, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.